Welcome to Counterpoint. I'm Tanya Granick-Allen. It is often said that free speech is the cornerstone to a democratic society. However, in our democracy here in Canada, it seems that speech isn't all that free sometimes anymore. Say the wrong thing and you can get doxxed or cancelled. And good luck to you in determining who decides what the wrong thing to say is, as the goalposts are ever changing and so is the judge. One area of society where one would hope for free speech or academic freedom ought to be protected and at all costs is in academia, at universities. But are universities bastions of academic freedom any longer? One recent survey demonstrated that universities are nearly devoid of diversity in thought and are at risk of becoming politically homogeneous institutions. Not only are professors espousing nearly identical political and social views, but those who espouse dissenting views self-censor out of fear of retaliation. So why does this matter? Why is it important to have academic freedom? And how did we get to this point? And perhaps most importantly, is there any way of getting back? Well, joining me now to share his research is Dr. Christopher Dummit, Professor of Canadian Studies at Trent University and co-author of the recently published report by the Macdonald-Laurier Institute, The Viewpoint Diversity Crisis at Canadian Universities. Thank you, Dr. Dummit, for joining me today. I appreciate your time. So let's jump right in. We'll start with a very basic question is, what is academic freedom and why is it so important?
I mean, academic freedom is the principle that professors at universities, or people in universities, should be free to research where their research and their research interests take them, that they should be free to comment on intellectual issues, public issues, based on their research expertise, and that they should be free from the kind of constraints, whether it's from especially universities or governments, that would limit the kinds of debates that could happen. It's developed, especially in the last 40, 50 years, incredible protections in Canada about academic freedom, although they seem now to be under threat more recently.
Okay, and just walk us through some of the numbers, because you published a very good report. Just how monolithic have Canadian universities become? Like, how big of a problem is this?
Well, we wanted to find out because there had been a bunch of studies in the US and the UK that had sort of said that universities were becoming more homogenous, really. Maybe people were thinking alike, at least politically, at the universities. And so we didn't have good Canadian data. And we went out and did a survey of Canadian professors and found, if you look at who professors vote for, and then secondly, how they self-identify, they self-identify as on the left or on the right. And we found that roughly 88% of professors either vote for left-wing parties and self-identify as being on the left. So it's a huge discrepancy compared to the public at large.
Okay, and when you say left-wing parties, what were the parameters? Like, what was considered a left-wing party?
Yeah, well, we wanted to find out what they were, because obviously the Liberal Party, obviously the NDP would obviously be on the left. The Liberal Party, we weren't sure. We thought, we wanted to leave it open. It has been in the center in the past. And so we asked professors who voted for the Liberals, where did they identify? And 95% of professors who voted Liberal consider themselves on the left. So we assumed then if 95% of professors are voting Liberal or assuming they're on the left, then at least they are seeing it as a left-leaning party.
And I guess then that leaves the Conservative Party federally on the right?
Conservatives, the People's Party, and there's also the Green and the Bloc Québécois. But again, we looked at those numbers to determine what professors who are voting for these parties and how do they see themselves, and so that's why we used the two numbers together. And we're pretty confident that those numbers are accurate.
That's actually a very good methodology, so I appreciate that, because it's how one sees themselves as well as how, I guess, we see the parties on a spectrum. You gave some very good numbers. Professors vote overwhelmingly for parties on the left. 88% self-identify as left-leaning, with only 9% voting for Conservative parties, compared to 30% more generally in the broader public. Is this surprising?
Sorry, I don't mean to correct it, but compared to 39% in the general public.
Oh, 39%. Okay, yeah. Excellent. Yeah, no, I don't want to get your research wrong. Is this alarming? Why is this surprising to you, and why should we be alarmed?
Well, it's not surprising anecdotally, but it's very nice to have the numbers to back it up. I think we should be alarmed because, I think liberal universities have always been sort of liberal institutions, open-minded institutions, but there's a lot of evidence to think that it's got more dramatic, that balance is becoming more skewed. And what we know about institutions where everyone basically thinks alike is that those kinds of institutions tend to make a lot of mistakes, so that they lead to self-censorship on the part of those who don't follow the line on certain issues.